This is Noor from Jakarta, Indonesia. And Noor says, Jonathan, my manager promised me last year that I am due for a promotion. She said that if things go well, then I can see myself with a bigger desk in 12 months. It's been more than a year, and she's been quiet about it. I am shy to ask, but I think I ticked all the boxes asked from me last year with flying colors. Okay, I can relate to this. When I was younger, I had both expectations and a little bit of impatience from my end. And so I would always expect to get promoted every year. If you were in the same situation of Noor Nabin, question is, how would you approach this? How would you talk to your manager? What would you say to resolve the issue? Or are you simply going to be quiet about it? And so before we give some tips about this, I want to throw some questions to our viewers. We're going to ask the question now, is it okay to ask your manager about your promotion? Could you please type? I'd be so interested to know your thoughts. Letter A, Jonathan, you don't ask for a promotion. You work for it and wait for the right time. Or is it letter B? Yes, you should ask for it if you deserve one, but you're still waiting and it seems like there is no light at the end of the tunnel. So let's see your responses. Is it letter A or is it letter B? I'll be very interested. So if you were to ask me, a promotion is not something you beg for. A promotion is not something, it is not a right, it is a privilege, but it's something that you can deserve. I would say that. So I would say letter A, yes. You should not be simply quiet about it. Don't get me wrong, I get the point. Cultures are different among organizations. Some cultures keep a silence policy about it. Some cultures are more vocal. I would say that more progressive companies are doing better if you allow your people to speak up. So I'm looking at the chat box right now. I do have a mix of both. I have some people typing letter A. I have some people typing letter B. I would say letter B, however, because it should not be dictated by only one person. I want to highlight that. The people who decide your promotion are also human beings. They are prone to misjudgment and they are also prone to being delinquent. So if you think you deserve it and you think that you owe it to yourself to get promoted because you've worked hard and no one's doing something about it, you can't just stay silent. Neither should you ignore it. Okay? Every day of your life, you work hard, you get what you need to deserve. Plus, remember, you're only motivated as much as what you are being rewarded for. So you may be silent or you may be ignoring it for a few days or months, but obviously it's going to seep through your system and you're going to be asking yourself, why am I here? Why am I still working 12 hours a day and I'm not even recognized for it? Right? So I love this response. I want to show one response, by the way. Response from Stella Marie from Facebook. And she says, if you're doing your work well, your manager will see it. And I am a big believer of this. I am a believer that great companies will never let good talent be ignored. Here's the problem. Not all companies are good companies, right? Can I get an exclamation mark if you can relate to that? Not all good companies are good companies. And neither are all bosses good bosses. And so there is a big chance that you deserve to get promoted and yet no one is giving you that right attention. And this is the same reason why a lot of employees leave. I want to highlight that. One of the most popular messages I get from my inbox are people who are asking for advice whether they should leave their company or not, simply because no one has been noticing their hard work, right? But here are a few tips. If you plan to raise this to your manager, which I would recommend that you would, it does take a level of choice of words, the timing, and also the content of how you're going to say it. So here are a few things I'd like to share as tips. Right? Oops, sorry. So again, here is the case study. I want to pick, by the way, some information here. It's been 12 months. So please take note. Noor has not been waiting for 2 months or 3 months. It's been a year. Okay? It's been a year. Number two, I wish there was proof here that if things go well, it's based on a certain criteria. Because remember, people don't get promoted simply because your manager wants you. People get promoted because you have fulfilled a certain criteria, numerical criteria and behavioral criteria. I also want to highlight that promotions are not decided alone by your manager. Okay? They are decided by the system, meaning HR needs to approve it. The boss of your boss needs to approve it. There are sometimes promotion deliberations committee in companies. The bigger the companies are, it's composed of a team. And so sometimes politics get into the way. Your manager proposes that you get promoted, but someone declines because they think you're not ready or because they simply don't know who you are because you haven't been visible to them. So here are a few tips. So number one, before you even complain, before you even decide to raise this issue with your boss, please have some self-introspection. Ask yourself, have you really met the criteria? Because this is natural for many of us. We're obviously going to be biased towards our own work. We have tendency to think that we're doing well. We're doing well, but this lower level is what the rest of the world thinks. So if there has been an agreement that if you've met criteria X, Y, and Z, look back to that agreement and ask yourself, did I really tick all the boxes? According to my evaluation plan that my manager shared with me last year, I need to be able to achieve X, Y, Z, H, and Y. How many of those have you fulfilled? Okay? Because if you haven't, then there is no reason for your manager to promote you. Probably your manager was saying that because she was seeing the potential, but along the way, after 6 months or 4 months, you weren't being consistent. So self-bias sometimes becomes the enemy of why we think we deserve something so bad, but we don't at all. And many times, perception is different from the reality, right? Okay. Another one I'd like to ask, once you have confronted a person, please do not just confront to ask. If you did not get that promotion, and if you were declined for a promotion, don't just say, okay, noted. You have to identify the next steps, right? So make the person accountable. And when I say accountable, if your manager declines, ask her, all right, I understand that I am not up for promotion yet, but I would love to know how can I be next year or in the next time? Is there something that I fell short of? Could you please let me know what those things are? Is it something else? If it's not because of my behavior or competency, is it because there is a structural issue? And mind you guys, there are a lot of people who do not get promoted, not because they don't deserve it, but because the company structure does not allow it. In the time of COVID-19, you know this, a lot of people's promotions were suspended. Even if they deserve it, the company could not promote them because there was not enough budget to raise the salaries of these employees. Okay? Is someone else blocking it? Is there someone in the promotions deliberations committee who is not convinced that you need to get promoted? It will be great to know who that person is so that the next time around, you'll improve your visibility towards that person. Because remember, getting promoted because you do well in your job is one story. Reminding people because you're visible and because you have managed the politics is a different story to talk about. And many times, some deserving people get promoted because of politics. Okay? So I want to highlight. So identify the next steps. Because don't just say noted if you didn't get it. What are the next steps to move forward and be better at it? Okay? The third one, I want to highlight this. So obviously, the alternative to this situation is silence or inaction. So some of you may say, I won't say anything about it because it might make it look like it's insubordination. It might look like I'm challenging the authority of my boss. It might look like that I am demanding too much. Okay? Please take note that yes, that's a good thing if you know that you have properly studied that you haven't met the criteria. But if you have, silence and inaction can backfire. It can send the wrong message to your manager or to other people that you can wait longer or live with it. Okay? I want to highlight that at the back of the brain of your manager, she would say, oh, I feel so guilty. I did not promote Jonathan this year, but he's quiet about it. So I guess I'll just sail it. I'll just cruise through it. And sometimes this is unfair because you deserve it. You deserve to be the rock star that you are. And sometimes in economics, we call that as the opportunity cost. The cost of staying too long in one company that doesn't treat you right. It's the cost that you could have been in another department or company that treated you better. Silence means you're okay with it. It's the same thing as in a wedding when someone says, If someone is against the marriage of these two people, say it now or forever hold your peace. It has that same impact.